my goodness, I am so excited. I'm just going to plow straight into this one today. Oh my goodness. So, first of all, hello, how are you all? Honestly, my energy is spinning at the moment. So, Compost gate. Oh my goodness, what a palaver. And I'm just going to say very quickly, because I'm going to have a slurp now. What time is it? 3 in the afternoon, I'm allowed. Thank you to those of you who sent me a few quid here, there, whatever. Without you helping in this situation, this would not have been possible. I had a little bit left over, so I've been and bought myself a couple of bottles of beer. So, cheers. This truly is a celebration. My beer consumption has gone way down over the last few months. I really need to work harder. Okay, so this is the situation, and it's why I'm so giddy. And I've just had a bloody cry, for goodness sakes. I literally just cried, it's ridiculous. But it kind of shows how important this is. So, what day is it today? I think it's Wednesday. Okay, so as I've mentioned in the last couple of videos, this compost situation, ridiculous. I placed an order nearly 4 weeks ago with a big company that I've used before, and no sign. I emailed them last week to say, when can I expect this order? I really need it. And actually, I wrote a really nice email to them to say, look, I grow all my own food, well, the majority, 80% of my own food. I grow my own food. I really need this. I've been a customer for years. I'm always telling people about your company. Just trying to, oil the wheels, smooth the, whatever it is. Anyway, so I had an email back within a couple of hours to say, oh, your order has been dispatched. And I thought, great, brilliant. I was forgetting it was a bank holiday weekend, but never mind. So I waited in. Now, that might not sound like a big deal, waiting at home all day, because at the moment we're in lockdown, we're supposed to be at home. But I do lots of stuff outside of the home still. So, for example, go to my garden to do gardening. And when I'm not doing that, as you know by now, I'm doing a lot of, say, prescription runs and shop and drops for vulnerable people in the area who can't get out to the shops. So I don't really want to stay at home 24 hours a day, because from home I'm not helping those people who need it and did it. Anyway, I stayed at home a bit. So my garden is way behind, never mind. Anyway, this order still hadn't come by. I think it was on Sunday when I was doing my peppers and having a little chat with you all. And amazingly, so one of the issues for me was the fact that I'd spent my entire remaining budget, garden budget for the year, the whole year. I'd spent the whole lot on compost. This was expensive compost I ordered. Oh, this is such a treat on a warm day. Yeah, so I think, for example, are they 40 or 50 litre sacks? Can't remember. But they're the best part of 15 quid each, which is really expensive. But it's good stuff. It's RHS approved. They love it. I bought some about either 2 or 3 years ago because my great aunt insisted that that's what I get for her garden. Hilariously, she subscribes to Witch magazine. Still does. Still likes to keep up with the best buys. And it was continually coming up as a best buy. I can't even remember the name of it. It's something like Silver Grow. I will show you if it ever turns up. Anyway, so yeah, I'd spent my entire budget. I had no money left for the garden. I've got a little bit of money in the bank, not a huge amount, but that's not for the garden. That's for things like if I need a new pair of shoes, if I need a new pair of nursing shoes, or, you know, if one of my freezer breaks down, whatever it is, you know, it was not for gardening. So, because a lot of folk were saying to me, why don't you just order from another company? It's like, well, no, because I've already spent all this money with someone else. I don't have the money to spend again somewhere else. Anyway, look, the bottom line is I started to get really quite concerned about it at the weekend. Not only do I mean, it looks like I'm growing cress. Not only did, I mean, they all need potting on. They all need potting on, not all of them. There's about 150 plants there. It's ridiculous. I do not need that. But I've got loads of seeds to start. All my squash and my cukes. I need to start thinking about starting my beans. I need to get on with parsnips, carrots, those things in the garden, which need a little bit of compost just to get them going. So yeah, I was getting really desperate. I left it one more day yesterday. Then this morning I woke up and I was just feeling really agitated and not sitting well with myself, and I realised that part of that is one of the things that makes me anxious, or at least not really kind of on the ball with things, is when I'm waiting. I'm not very good at waiting. I mean, I don't mind it, say, if I have a hospital appointment. I'm perfectly happy to wait because I'll read my book. This is a different kind of waiting. It's got no sort of end point. So I just thought, you know what, about 3 hours ago, I rang on the off chance my local nursery. Well, local-ish. There are 3 independent garden centre nursery type places near me. So I'm going to give a big shout out now to Shannon's of Forest Hill. I rang them on the off chance. They answered the phone, yay! Because this is the thing with my other order from the other company. I tried ringing, they're not answering the phone. There's an answering machine message to say, we can't answer, email. So I emailed them last week and they replied to that to say it's dispatched. Yesterday afternoon I emailed back to them to say, is there a tracking number? Is there some way I can work out when this is arriving? If it's not coming today, I'll go to the garden, I'll do my volunteering, whatever it is. Just give me an idea. And I got an automated reply to say, we're not answering emails either. So I'm thinking, you've got best part of 100 quid of my money. And look, I know it's difficult, I know it is, but you shouldn't have taken my money. Don't take my money if you're not going to fulfil the order. Anyway, so that had come yesterday, so that was part of the decision this morning. I just thought, do you know what, I can't be doing with this waiting. I'll ring this local company. They picked up the phone. Oh, a human being. I said, I don't care what it is, I need compost. I need it pronto. Well, the first thing I said was, what's your lead-in time for deliveries? And he said, where are you? And I told him my address. He said, oh, we could probably do it today, if not today, tomorrow. Yes, yes, give me. So I said, brilliant. I just need some compost. I need about 100 litres or so. And he said, well, we've got an offer on. They've got an offer on. And it was 3 bags. Can't remember how much it was now. Delivery is quite expensive, but I just said, listen, let's do it. So 3 hours later, I've just had a buzz on the door. I'm literally doing this after coming back up the stairs with my, well, that's a lie. I was going to say after coming back up the stairs with my compost. After I got the compost, I then went to the corner shop and got the beer. Yay! So, what's really cute, oh God, I'm sorry, I'm waffling now. I promise I'll stop waffling and we'll get on with some tomato therapy. Oh, the smell, oh, delicious. So he buzzed on my door. I said, oh, hi, yeah, I'll come down and open. He said, I'm parked in the next street. And I was like, you can park outside the front of my place. It's a single yellow. Anyway, He went off to get it. That gave me time to get down the stairs. Oh, my knee. I opened the door, and of course, because I live above a shop, there's a blooming big queue outside my front door. So I'm stood there in the sunshine on my doorsteps doing this up and down clapping. Everyone in the queue is looking at me like I'm absolutely out of my brains. So I explained, I'm getting compost. I grow all my own food. I'm getting compost. Hurrah! So he appeared around the corner with the first 2 sacks. I stepped back, of course, stepped right back into my hallway. He popped them on the step and then went off to get another. All this time, I'm giggling out loud. So I bring the 2 into the hallway, go back onto the step to wait for the third. I've got 3 bags. And the whole queue outside the shop, everyone's just beaming these massive smiles. I'm like, yes. So he came back with the third one, plopped it down, and I said, please, please, before you go, I just want to tell you. And then I did this spiel of joy at him about how special this was, and to say thank you to the company for being open, for doing the deliveries, for getting it so promptly, blah, blah, blah. Started to well up, get really emotional. And then he's looking a bit like, ooh. But yeah, fantastic. That's a very, very long roundabout way of saying it's time to do some potting on. But the other thing I want to say just before I do start potting is this whole situation over the last couple of weeks, I'm not meaning COVID, I mean the compost scenario, and my reaction to getting 3 bags of compost today. I mean, I flipping cried, for goodness sakes. It's kind of made me really realise just how much I've come to rely on growing my own food. You know, the last few days, it's been in my mind of, what if I don't have a garden this year? And that's kind of coming in at all sorts of levels, because on the one hand, it's, you know, it's my food. What if I can't grow food? How much is it going to cost? Now, the thing is, because I've been doing a lot of shopping recently for other people, I'm doing shops for people. This is like a weekly shop, and I'm spending for them, obviously they pay me back, anywhere between sort of £30 and £60 a week. This is for individuals, one couple, 30 and 60 quid a week. And as the days have gone by, I've thought, wow, God, that's a lot of money. People spend a lot of money on food. So if I can't grow my own, plus the fact that my income has gone through the floor, what the heck? So, you know, on the one hand, it's really kind of made me really appreciate the value of that food I'm growing. But also, it's just that thing of the very simple thing, the mindful act of putting seeds into soil. I know, I absolutely know that having a garden keeps me sane. Please don't question my sanity. It keeps me sane, it keeps me grounded, it keeps me happy, it keeps me joyous, it keeps me appreciating life. So the prospect of not having a garden, oh, it was too much to bear. So anyway, I've got myself, so I didn't specify what I wanted, I just said, can I have compost? So I've never used this before. Levington compost. It's a multi-purpose compost with added John Innes. I don't know what that means. Superior texture with phosphate, stronger roots. 8 weeks of feeding. Green compost, great nutrient source for healthier plants. So I think because it's got feed in there, I think that's great for my potting on plants. I wouldn't necessarily start seeds in a compost that's got feed in, because they're just going to go, they're going to go too mad and too leggy and they'll be weak. A traditional mix of loam, peat, oh no! A traditional mix of loam, peat, sand and fertiliser. got peat in it. I never use peat. Okay, so I would never ever knowingly buy peat compost, ever. I've never used peat compost in my garden. Oh, phooey. Look, the fact of the matter is, this peat has already been taken from its environment. So I'm not going to now chop this away, that would be such a waste. Okay, right, stop, Vivi, you're about to get depressed. Okay, I would not normally use peat. I would not... Would I have bought this if I'd known there was peat in it? I don't know. Truthfully, I don't know. I'm so desperate. But it's here now, so I'm going to use it. Oh, give me a minute. Okay, just got over my little moment. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's you know, it's my personal choice, what have you. So I wouldn't normally go with peat, but I've got it, and you know what? Let's get back to the excitement. I've got compost. How wonderful! Now, let's do some potting on of tomatoes. They smell gorgeous. Now, if you look at them, they look massive, don't they? They look really tall. But, and this is especially for the newbies, do you remember I was talking about the seed leaves? Here are the seed leaves, and here are the true leaves. They've actually only got 2 true leaves each. They look big and, oh, blousy, but that's exactly what they are. They're blousy. They're all fur coat and no knickers at the moment. There's no substance to these plants. The reason they're so big is because there's so many in there and they're so crowded. It's exactly what you would see in a forest, where the trees go up and up and up and up and up and up and up. They're trying to find the light, which is why in forestry management, they'll make clearings so that smaller little saplings have got half a chance. So these are far from ideal. They are really pathetic, weedy plants, despite their kind of mass, their bulk. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in here. Okay, now the great thing, let me do it with one that's just got, hopefully 4. It'll be easier to show you. So the other thing to say with this kind of gangliness, you'll often hear people talk about the plants going leggy. Oh, that's a leggy plant. It doesn't mean it's got gorgeous legs, it means it is strained for the light, or for example it's been too warm for it, so it's shot up, so you get these long, spindly, weak plants. The ones on the outside are, I'll show you if I can, on the outside of the tray that haven't been fighting so much, are much more like I want. The great thing with tomatoes is we can slightly help to solve this situation by planting them deeper. So a lot of plants, when we transplant them from the pot, we put them into another pot at the same depth. With the tomatoes, we can bury a lot of that stem beneath the soil, and all the, I don't know if it's going to pick up, but all the teeny tiny little white hairs coming off the stem, they will become roots. They'll become the feeder roots. They'll go and find water, they'll find nutrition. So all is not lost. I'm going to show you with these, and then I'm going to turn the camera off and go through these really carefully and slowly and pick out the slightly smaller, more robust ones. Like that. I mean, look, the difference is really, really obvious, isn't it? This is what I want to work with. Actually, even these are way leggy than I normally want to work with. But, you know what? Everything this year is a bit different, isn't it? And we just have to try and go with the flow. So, I'm putting my fingers between. I'm going to try not to touch the stems at all, because we shouldn't be touching the stems anyway. It's the weakest part of the plant at this stage. But especially when we've got this really, really leggy spindly growth. So I've tapped it out of its pot. Actually, maybe I'm going to angle you down so you can see what I'm doing. Yes, that's a good idea. So it's out of its little pot now, and you can see lots of little, pick that up, lots of little roots. So I'm going to very gently tease these apart, really gently, really gently. I gave everything a really good watering last night in the hopes that I'd get compost today, just because it will help me tease these apart a little more easily. So there I've got two. Let's have a little tease there. Really, really gently. Just don't rush it. Just give it a little wiggle. It's like when you've got tangled hair. You just need to be really gentle with it and it will come apart again. So now here I am left with this one. I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to keep this. It's too pathetically leggy. I'm just going to show you now for demonstration purposes. So I've got a considerably larger pot to pop it into. In goes that little root ball. Again, I'm not touching the actual plant itself, not touching the stem at all. Firming that in there. I've got to say, this compost is really kind of fibrous and weird. I feel like I'm working with hay. So topped up with a bit of compost, just firm that down a bit. Again, I'm firming the compost, not the plant. So all the time trying not to touch that stem, apart from just gently to ease it out of the way while I get the compost in. Weird compost, but yay, compost. Let's pop that in. Give that another firm down. Give it a little knock any little air pockets out of it. So you can see, let's bring you back up, hopefully you can see, this one is now, you see the seed leaf? That's the seed leaf, and that's right on level with the soil. So if I show you this one again, its companion, you can see, hopefully you can see, here's the seed leaves. So on the one that I've just potted, from there all the way down to its little root ball, that's all now been buried in compost, should produce little roots. Like I say, these are far too spindly for me to, for me to bother with, but you never know. I may do a few of them. I can't bear to throw any of them away. I've obviously got my work cut out this afternoon to play a little bit of catch up with these and all my other different types of tomatoes, plus the Ozen peppers, that's the paprika peppers, which I didn't do when I did my orange bells and du long de londe because I ran out of compost. So yes, I've got my work cut out, but I'm blimmin' delighted, yay! It's probably going to take me hours and hours and hours. So it's the perfect kind of occasion to, I've got my little beer on the go. Well, it's gone down now. Chin chin. Enjoy a beer. Goodness knows, I've deserved it. I think I've deserved it. Pop the radio on, either listen to some music, listen to a play, not listen to any sport. But yeah, I'll crack on with this, and oh, I hope you can feel my relief. I really am relieved, and I'm really grateful to those of you who sent me the cash to make this happen. What I would really like to say massively to all of you, whether you're newbies or old hands, you know, we're getting our challenges this year already, aren't we? I don't just mean about the virus, but in terms of the knock-on of that, of getting compost, getting seeds. In the UK, certainly in the southeast, we've had this baking weather. The allotment is so dry, rock hard. Hopefully we've got some rain coming. Every year in the garden is a challenge for some reason or other, but those challenges make the rewards of the veggies we do get all the greater, all the more precious. That first tomato I have around about end of July, beginning of August, mid-August maybe at this rate, it's going to be so beautiful, so precious. When you grow your own food, you really, really appreciate every mouthful. When was the last time, for those of you who don't grow, that you ate tomatoes only for 4 weeks in the year, in that kind of August and beginning of September period? Imagine a life without fresh tomatoes for 11 months, and then how gorgeous that first fresh tomato is. So yeah, if like me you literally pretty much only eat the produce that you grow, you eat in season fresh, and out of season it's frozen and pulverised with the tomatoes. Yeah, it really, really, really is something remarkable and special and precious, and maybe in the last couple of years I started to take it for granted a little bit. Shush, computer. Maybe I did start to take it for granted a little bit. But I tell you what, this year, nah. This year I'm going to relish every single mouthful I get from my garden. So, the other thing to say is, I was mentioning it in the broad bean video, I think, you know, the gardens, they are remarkably forgivable and flexible. So please, if you're like me and you're feeling that things are really late happening, please don't panic. We've got time to catch up. If we get some compost, we've got time to catch up. We're still getting some pretty chilly nights. It's still really early in the season. So if you can get on with things, brilliant. But if you can't, you know what? Try not to worry. Try not to become a worrywart like I did this weekend. It'll all come good in the end. And you know what? If it doesn't, we'll learn. We'll always learn something for next year. So, on that note, how can compost make me so happy? I'm going to get on with this lot. The next time I see you, hopefully, will be outside in the garden again. Oh my God, the spod trenches. I still haven't dug the spod trenches. I'm so about doing it because it's so rock hard out there. But it will happen. It will happen. Because you know what? It always does. It always happens somehow or other. Isn't that true? It always happens somehow or other. So, yeah, it'll happen. On that note, please, please look after yourselves. Stay well. Stay out of harm's way. If you can help other people somehow, some way, please, please do. As I was mentioning the other day, so many places are crying out for volunteers right now. So if you can help, please do. If you can't physically do that, then you know what, just look after yourselves, look after each other, stay at home, do your knitting, do your chatting, whatever it is you do. Shut up, Vivi. Right, that's it. Cheerio, gorgeosities. I will see you really soon. Huge amounts of love to you all, and hugs. Bye for now.